Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Moore.
Thank you very much. Thanks. And welcome to every American boy's dream. Enough electric trains. No kid has ever... No, when I was a kid, I had one little electric train, ran around in a little circle at the bottom of the Christmas tree for 1 week every Christmas, and then put it away again till next year. This is really a dream. Our first guest obviously knows a great deal about model railroading, and that well-trained guest will be here as soon as we have soloed our panel here on To Tell the Truth.
Gene Rayburn. A guitar. Bill Commen. And Eddie Carlisle.
Wouldn't Henry Morgan blow his mind?
He would indeed. He would.
Bill Cullen just said to me, I'll work for a year for free if you'll give me one.
Yeah, look at that.
I want to tell you, those are some trains. Welcome, Gene Rayburn, and welcome the rest of our panel. Delighted to have you here. We have to go to work. Let's meet the owner of these marvelous trains.
Oh, boy.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Carmen Webster, and this is a standard gauge Blue Comet locomotive. It was made by the Lionel Corporation in the 1930s, and this is U.S. Hobby's O-gauge locomotive.
Number two.
My name is Carmen Webster, and this is a Santa Fe S-gauge diesel locomotive. And this is an HO gauge decapod locomotive made by Pacific Fast Mail.
Number three.
My name is Carmen Webster. This is a TT gauge Northern Pacific diesel made by HP Products. And this is a Southern Pacific N-gauge diesel made by Atlas.
All right, here is the story of Carmen Webster. It goes like this. I, Carmen Webster, am an authority on model trains. I am also a dealer director of the Hobby Industry Association of America. I am the owner of the largest store in the world, devoted exclusively to model trains and equipment. My corporation also designs and builds highly technical operating displays, such as the train layout seen on NBC television to illustrate the Gemini orbital launching. Here on our stage are two model train layouts. This one is made by Marklin. It is HO, which is the most popular gauge of all. And here we have an N gauge, which is the newest and the smallest. This features Rapido equipment. Interestingly, the average fan is a ripe 33 years of age and spends 10 hours a week on this fascinating hobby. There can be no doubt that the best way to run a railroad is by using model trains. They run on time. Signed, Carmen Webster. And panel, if you think you don't have room for a layout such as this in your home, let me show you. Can we get this camera 3 in here, Paul? We got a picture, a little light on. Okay, look at this now. You won't believe it.
Little turntable.
Look at this.
I want it.
What's fascinating, panel, I'm sure you can't see it from there, but the central connection, the central circuit here, the whole thing goes around the perimeter of a silver dollar.
That's sensational.
Isn't that something?
Is that for sale?
That is not for sale. Or maybe it is for enough money, who knows? Meanwhile, we'll have a few commercials while we watch the trains.
Do you want to make more money? Then call this toll-free number to find out how easy it is to train at home for a better career. At ICS, more than 10 million men and women have prepared for new careers without ever setting foot inside a classroom. And now at home, in your spare time, you can get your diploma or degree. Choose from any one of these courses. Then call toll-free for free information about training with ICS.
Call 1-800-719-5400 right now for free information. There's no obligation. Call 1-800-719-5400.
A friend of mine told me, try America Online. I said, why? I've got a computer. He said, try it. You'll see. It's simple. Every time you sign on,
Welcome.
it tells you if you've got mail.
You've got mail.
Want to send some email? Type the message. Click here, and it's done. I like this. With one click, I can browse all kinds of great features on America Online. I've gotten help with my golf swing, planned my next vacation. I even get stock price updates every 15 minutes. America Online has over 100 newspapers and magazines, everything from Business Week Online to Cycle World, and I can browse them all. With America Online, you can point and click your way across the internet. And their web browser makes it easy to explore the World Wide Web. Call the toll-free number and you'll receive your free startup kit and 15 free hours to look around. It's worth a try. You'll see.
To try America Online free, call 1-800-714-6655. You'll receive your America Online Startup Kit and now 15 hours free your first month. Call now.
Tell me why I love you like I do. Tell me who can start my heart as much as you. Let's take each other's hand and jump into the final frontier. I'm mad about you, baby.
Watch me.
Mad about you, baby.
Coming this fall, it's Mad About You 5 times a week. Check your local listings for station and time.
Watch Prime Games and be eligible to win these great prizes. A home library of reference books, including the new revised 10th edition of Merriam-Webster's Collegiate Dictionary, America's best-selling dictionary, furnished by Merriam-Webster. A lightweight, high-performance sewing machine for everyone who loves to sew. Specially priced, the Model 108 from Janome New Home Sewing Machine Company. And for truly elegant dining, this lovely Michael C. Fina Company silver plate flatware. 68 pieces in a deluxe drawer chest from the fine silver collection of the Michael C. Fina Company.
Go ahead. No,
You want me to hit it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Really?
Break open the parrot.
Right here?
Yeah.
Do I hit it really hard?
Yeah.
Ah! Ah! You do it! Harder! Come on!
All right. Thank you very much. Where's our producer?
Wheel of Fortune, weekday mornings 10:45-ish Eastern on Game Show Network.
Now remember that all three of these honest-looking folks claim to be Carmen Webster, and before we start the game, we're going to have to stop all the trains, because we just can't hear ourselves think when the trains go.
Oh, the Long Island Railroad.
Well, now that things have hushed down, let's start the question with that old rail splitter Bill Cullen.
I love this. Number 3, was there ever a time when there were more than 2 tracks used, 2 rails used for a train?
More than 2 tracks for a train?
2 rails, yes, so a left and a right rail.
Not that I know of.
Number 1, may I ask you how the power is supplied? The power has to go into the engine and it has to come back out again. May I ask you how the power is applied to the engine, number 1?
It goes in through the rail,
And where does it go out, number 1?
through the other rail.
Certainly makes sense to me. Number 3. Oh, come on! I know something
And
about
that's it, and we're going to go get it. Come on.
I like that answer.
Where
The
else
good
does it
answer.
go out except through the other rail?
Well, I don't know.
Goes
You
through the
ask your own
smokestack or
questions.
something?
Goes out through the conductor. Let's go to Kitty.
Number 2, I'm fascinated by the emphasis on the gauges. What does N gauge mean?
Well, N gauge or gauge in any one of them means the distance between the rails.
Oh, I see. Now, number 3, there was a big problem in Europe because a very large railroad had a different gauge from most of the rest of Europe. Do you know what that was?
Offhand, I don't know.
Number 2, what was the gauge of the Trans-Siberian Railroad? Do you know?
5 feet 6 inches.
And what was the rest of the European tracks?
The rest of it 4 feet 8.5 inches.
Oh, my goodness.
There you go. We go down to Gene Rayburn.
Yes, sir. Number 3, how did they arrive at HO and N? What do those things mean, actually?
Well, you mean the name, the designation? N simply is the initial of Nordstrom, which is the man that, the manufacturer, and HO is half of H.
HO is half?
Half of O, I beg your pardon. HO is half of O.
That makes sense too, Bill, doesn't it? Yes, I like that. I like that. Number 2, you know where are you from, Carmen Webster, number 2?
From New York.
Well, you know where the Flatiron Building is?
Yes, I do.
There's a big hobby shop in that neighborhood somewhere. Can you pinpoint it for me?
On 45th Street? That's correct.
All right.
He says on 45th Street.
Yeah, that's what he said.
All right, Peggy Cass, we go to.
Number one, is this an American hobby or do European kids do it too?
It's an international hobby.
Thank you. Well, then number two, when a European child buys a set, do they have to get a whole other set for the Trans-Siberian Railroad, or do they make, how do they do that?
Not much of that is being done today. They're staying with the 4 feet, 8.5-inch gauge.
Thank you. Number three, how much is one of those engines?
Oh, depending upon the condition, they would range from $10 to a couple of thousand, perhaps.
Wow. Number one, can you crash these things? I used to love to crash my brother's trains. I mean, do they get hurt if you crash them much?
Well, it all depends. I mean, anything as small as that is fragile, but they take a lot of abuse.
Ding, dinger, ding. Then that means we have to mark our ballots, and we mark them for number 1, or number 2, or number 3. We pay $50 for each wrong vote. We pay $500 if nobody comes up with the right answer. And Bill Cullen, who is an expert on this, he thinks, you want to vote?
Well, number 2 didn't remember the old 3 rails that the Lionels used to be. And number 1 wasn't too sure about where the power went out, although she was right. It goes in one rail and comes out another, I do believe. So on that basis...
Just hold your ballot up because we can't see it in the
I voted for number 2.
All right. And we go to Kitty Carlisle.
Well, number 2 was very glib about the difference in gauge of the Russian railroads and the European, but I think it's backwards. I think the Russian gauges were smaller. I'm sure I'm wrong. And the Flatiron Building, is that on 45th Street?
Oh, no, it's way down.
So he said it was on 45th Street, and I didn't think that was true. And although I didn't believe that the power goes in one ear and out the other, so to speak, in the railroad, I voted for number 1. Right.
There's a 1 and a 2. Hold your ballots up high so we can see them, panel. And we go to Gene Rayburn, please.
This is a tough one, Gary.
It is.
Because number 1, I suspect, when she realized she was lying, she went all... And number 2, he said a couple of things that were wrong, but I just couldn't bring myself to vote for a woman in a case like this, so I voted for number 2.
Male chauvinism rears its ugly head again.
That's why we got women's
2
lib.
2s and a 1, and we go to Peggy.
Well, I thought number 1 gave all the right answers, and not only that, when the other people were saying what those engines were over there, she was going under her, so that either she'd committed it to memory or she knew when she was trying to help them say it. So I voted for 1.
All right, there you go. The votes are all in. Will the real Carmen Webster please stand up? There you go. Carmen, we'll be back to you in a second. Let's find out about number 2 with 2 wrong votes. What is your real name, sir, and what do you do?
My name is Bill Helian, and I'm a television and film director, freelance.
Number 3, I'm afraid that 3rd rail did you, and what is your real name and what do you do?
My real name is Lou Daly, and I'm a personnel executive for the New York Telephone Company.
Carmen Webster, just to set the record straight, what is the exact location of your magnificent store?
Well, let's give the name first. It's Model Railroad Equipment Corporation, and it's at 23 West 45th. Very easy to remember, 2345.
We heard you the first time. Thank you, Carmen, very much. Yes, Bill.
Excuse me, but before the show, I was given a sealed envelope here, and I was told that I was to interrupt you on cue from our producer. I've just gotten the cue, and reveal the contents at this time. So that's out.
What is this?
I don't know.
Something he bought in an alley in France?
I do not know what is in here, Gary. I swear. It's sealed. So if it's libelous. All right. While the staff...
Are you reading something?
I'm reading what it says right here. Yeah. While the staff was planning this railroad spot, for to tell the truth, we received a letter. Hold up letter.
You received a letter?
We received a letter from a viewer named Edward Chase of Brattleboro, Vermont. And along with his letter, he sent an article from Model Railing Magazine, October 1941, some 30 years ago. It featured a story about a radio idol who was also a serious model railroader. The radio idol's name was and is Gary Moore. And you see, and we have reproduced the pictures and the captions from that article. By the way, this envelope was sealed so you, Bill Cullen, oh, that's me, wouldn't know about the railroad spot. That's true, and I didn't, and I voted for the wrong person. So anyway, the radio idol, Gary Moore at the time, would be surprised. Okay, now, Paul Alder, if you'll show us picture number 1, I'll read the captions. And here's the caption. It says, operating one train was as simple as pie, says railroader Gary Moore. Would you believe? Did you say that? Simple
Sure
as
I
pie,
did. Look, it says
easy
there.
as rolling off a log. Paul, could I see the next one? There you are. Even 2 trains could be manipulated without any chance of disaster, said our hero. Oh,
smug, smug, smug.
Do you notice how young those trains look, Gary? Oh, can we see number 3? Then I tried 3. It was so simple, the caption continues, I bragged I could do it blindfolded. May we see the next one, Paul, please? Someone,
and there you go.
Someone took me up on my big talk and tied a handkerchief over my eyes. I was seated at the controls and 3 trains were started out. And now, if you're ready with this, I assume the last one, crash, bang, you could hear it a block away. I jerked off the handkerchief and saw all 3 trains piled up into one grand mess. Bill makes one witty, highly amusing comment, it says, and allows Gary to resume the show. Gary, do you notice how young those trains look?
Ham-used pictures. I still have one of those trains on. Would you believe it's developed bags under its wheels? It's true. Thank you, Carmen Webster and Imposters, for being with us here on To Tell the Truth. Thank you, Bruno. That was fun seeing those things. Now, here's the letter, all right? I shall treasure that. I guess we must go ahead. Our next guest is a great man with a knife and fork, and we'll meet him right after a few tasty commercials.
Hi, I'm Jim Palmer for the Money Store. Does it seem like the weekend is the only time to take care of personal business? The problem is that when you're off, just about everyone else is too, but not at the Money Store. If you're thinking about refinancing your home, you can call the Money Store this weekend and apply by phone. There's no application fee, and the chances are you'll have an approval by Tuesday. So if you want to refinance your home, call the Money Store this weekend at 1-800-LOAN-YES. That's 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Do you want to make more money? Then call this toll-free number to find out how easy it is to train at home for a better career. At ICS, more than 10 million men and women have prepared for new careers without ever setting foot inside a classroom. And now at home, in your spare time, you can get your diploma or degree. Choose from any one of these courses. Then call toll-free for free information about training with ICS.
Call 1-800-719-5400 right now for free information. There's no obligation. Call 1-800-719-5400.
Hey, baby, the 70s are alive and swinging every Saturday night at 8 on Game Show Network. Flash back to the age of Aquarius with 4 groovy game shows guaranteed to be far out. Get down with To Tell the Truth, followed by a funky What's My Line. Then you'll dig the dating game and wig out with the newlywed game. It's a far-out flashback groovy kind of loving that's out of sight, baby. Like, check out the groovy games Saturday beginning at 8 on Game Show Network.
Now, panel, many of you fancy yourselves, and no doubt are, well-traveled gourmets. Let's take a look at something special here. These are menus that belong to our next guest, and he has eaten at each of those restaurants, but this represents only a tiny, tiny portion of the total number of restaurants that he has visited. And now let's meet the man who likes to eat out.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Fred Magel.
Number 2.
My name is Fred Magel.
Number 3.
My name is Fred Magel.
All right, panel, now here's Fred Magel's story. I, Fred Magel, like to eat in restaurants. In fact, I like it so much that I am listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world champion restaurant diner. I grew up in a restaurant-owning family, but my real interest began when I met and worked with the great Duncan Hines. That was when I first began combining business with gastronomic pleasure. In pursuit of fine meals, I have owned 59 automobiles, flown on 14 different airlines, and dined in 60 different countries. The goal I have set for myself is to dine in 50,000 restaurants, and it looks like I'm going to make it. In a couple of months, I will have eaten in, believe it or not, 34,000 different restaurants. Signed, Fred Magel. And we'll start the questioning with a lady who'll eat anything that doesn't bite her first. Kitty Carlisle.
Right.
Number one, are you married?
No, unfortunately, I'm not.
So you never eat at home?
I don't think I could because we have a city ordinance that prevents a second kitchen in the single dwelling house. So as a result, I couldn't eat at home. It would be a violation of a city ordinance.
Who eats in the first kitchen?
The people downstairs. I
Oh, I see.
I have an apartment in the second
I get
floor.
it. All right. Number two, are you prepared to tell me where the best of anything is, or are you going to say you wouldn't want to answer that
I
question?
wouldn't want to make a preference.
Then I won't ask you the next series of questions. Number three, would you tell me?
Thank you, Kitty. That was most enlightening. Let's get down to Gene.
Number three, do you know what titralac is?
Titralac?
Yes. Okay, thank you, number three. Number two, how can you do this? I mean, have you got a cast iron stomach?
No, but I've never had a weight problem, and I work out. I'm a weightlifter, actually, as a hobby. I lift weights.
Yeah, what do you weigh, number two?
I weigh 131.
What's the heaviest you've ever lifted?
I've lifted 185 pounds.
Wow.
I do that every day, 7 days a week.
Every morning he jumps out of bed and lifts himself up over his own head. Let's go to Peggy.
And number three, I'm just going to ask you about restaurants, which I figure you must know. Could you tell me where is Brennan's?
Brennan's?
No, number three, Brennan's.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe you're referring to Brennan's in Chicago.
Thank you. And number one, where's the London Chop House?
London Chop House is in Detroit.
And thank you. Number two, where's Lockober's?
Lockober's is in Boston.
Thank you. And number one, where's Joe's Stone Crab?
You got me, lady, over a barrel. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Well, number two, where's Perino's?
Perino's is in New York.
Thank you. And number three, do you know where the Mirabelle is?
The Mirabelle is in New Orleans.
Thank you.
And we go from there to Bill Cullen.
Well, now, number one, where is the world-famous China song? World's famous China song?
China song, yes, sir. It's an Oriental restaurant.
No? Sorry. Well, number two, could you tell me what titralac is? Because I am anxious to...
I've never eaten it.
You have never... Number one. Number one. Number one, let's get this straight. Gene, is there such a thing as titralac?
Yes, there
Number
is.
one, what is titralac, sir? I'm going to have to pass on that one, too. I don't blame you, number one. It's the silliest question I ever
The
heard.
first thing on the menu at the China song. We're crying out loud. It is time for us to vote. We must hurry. And we must vote for number one, or for number two, or for number three. We pay $50 for each wrong vote. We pay $500 if all the votes are wrong. And Kitty Carlisle, if you had time to mark your
Oh,
ballot.
yes. I've got to vote for number one. Number two is wrong about the Perino's, and number three about the Mirabelle. It's got to be number one.
Okay, so put your ballot up in front. We got a one, and we go to Gene Rayburn, please.
Well, I voted for number three just because he didn't know what titralac was.
All right, then let's go to Peggy.
Yeah, but he didn't know Brennan's either.
That's right.
And number one didn't know Joe's Stone Crab, but he knew everything else because number two was wrong about someplace. I eat everywhere.
Suppose it turns out to be nobody. All right, Bill Cullen, who are you going to do?
And I voted for number one. I voted for number one because...
Three of you are for number one, and one is for number three. The votes are in. Will the real Fred Magel please stand up? There you go. Let's check out number two. Number two, us small fellas got to stick together. I'd have given you my vote. What is your real name and what do you do?
My name is Alexander Rose. I'm a novelist. My new novel comes out next month, The Nutley Syndrome.
Looking forward to it. And number three, sir, with one wrong vote. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Gus Corsolini. I'm a retired lieutenant colonel.
Presently working as a manufacturer's representative.
May I ask you, Mr. Magel, how much do you spend a year for Pepto-Bismol?
I don't use Pepsi-Bismol. I use Alka-Seltzer.
But you must have to use something, I'll tell you.
No, I'm going to be frank with you, Gary. You're such a gentleman about this whole thing. I have a very good digestive system. I use very little antacid.
Delighted to hear it, sir. We have to wave goodbye to everybody. Our time is out. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, imposters, for being with you on To Tell the Truth.
Are you ready for some hot new games this fall? Where do I sign up? Check out how the other half loves with the dating game.
Ladies on here are hot.
Why are they begging? I don't know. And the newlywed game.
It's real people being really funny. She'd rather have jewelry than sex.
That's my wife. The Dating Newlywed Hour.
And this show offers it all.
Ooh, I like the way he moves. Are you game?
You go out and get some platform shoes and you guys are going to have a great time together.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Jack Nicklaus's personal technique that helps straighten slices.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Dave Peltz's revolutionary technique that has even the pros putting more accurately.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Get out of sand without sweat. Greg Norman's Earth Mover secret shows you how, guaranteed. Now take 2, 3, 4, even more strokes off your game with the secrets you'll get in your free issue of Golf Magazine.
Take strokes off your game, guaranteed.
Master teacher Jim McLean's simple secret to longer, straighter tee shots every time. Call now to get your free issue of Golf Magazine, plus receive your free Golf Magazine umbrella. Shoot lower, play better, or you don't pay. That's the Golf Magazine guarantee. Call now for your free no-obligation issue of Golf Magazine. If you decide to subscribe, get 11 more issues, 12 in all, for just $16.97. Plus this Golf Magazine umbrella free with your paid subscription. Call now.
Game Show Network is proud to present Increase Your Word Power. Increase Your Word Power is a public service campaign designed to increase the vocabularies of our viewers. Pretty soon you'll be impressing your family and friends with words some might find difficult to spell or pronounce. You'll be the toast of your neighborhood. Stay tuned and increase your word power with Game Show Network. And now it's time to increase your word power with Game Show Network. Today's word is patrician. Patrician is defined as a person of refined upbringing.
Have a stapler?
Manners.
You don't have to do that.
And taste, or a member of the aristocracy. See Pat Sajak. You can, in fact, see Sajak every weekday on Game Show Network. Watch Wheel of Fortune 10:45-ish a.m. Eastern Time. Increase your word power is a public service brought to you by Game Show Network.
You're watching Game Show Network, where the match game is next with Ross Schaefer, followed by Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
Transportation and other considerations provided by Chevrolet, featuring the 1971 Chevelle, America's most popular mid-size car. New bumpers and grills, same solid, dependable performance at a Chevrolet price. Hotel accommodations, courtesy of the luxurious Park Sheraton Hotel, home of the famous Mermaid Room, right in the heart of Manhattan, convenient to everything. Prizes or product mentions were furnished and or paid for by the manufacturers or supplier of the products or services identified on this program. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
Get ready to match the stars with the star-studded Big Money Match Game coming up next here on Game Show Network.
Match Game with Gene Rayburn, 7 p.m. Eastern on Game Show Network.
You're watching Game Show Network.